And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So that's from the book of Genesis. What was that? The book of Genesis. It was chapter 2, verse 7. And that's when God formed man from the dust of the earth. And it says he breathed the breath of life into the man. Very interesting indeed. God's breathing into us life. But according to the media, we are breathing into each other death. That's why I call this video the breath of death. What's interesting, and at first they gave the impression that whatever this virus is, it lives in certain environments, like moist environments where you have your mucous membranes or what have you. It could travel by way of saliva. And they talked about the social distancing thing, staying like 6 feet away, that kind of thing. And then they were talking about how it gets in your saliva, and people tend to talk and their mouths, saliva. The body is over 70% water, so that's kind of natural. But it travels in the saliva, and then they talked about how saliva, if you get too close, and we've all probably, don't mean to gross you out, but experienced times when somebody was talking too close and they spit. I mean, it's happened before, probably to all of us. But now you have cause to stay back. And I usually respect people's space anyway, even before all this stuff came out about this pandemic and how you can catch whatever this thing is. That's always been a tendency of mine, to stay out of people's immediate space. And when they were first talking about how you can catch this stuff, and then they started talking about how it's spreading, and they're running out of ventilators, and all this stuff is going on, and it's spreading pretty fast, far and wide. And I'm like, what are these people doing to be spreading this stuff? And it's spreading so rapidly. What are y'all, like, making out with each other? What are y'all doing? I mean, but then here recently, they came back with another report. And now they're saying, from what I understood, I could be wrong, but it's the way I understood it. And I'm not trying to scare you. This isn't one of those scare tactic videos. I don't think it is. You're not scared, are you? Well, anyway, of course you're not. Because you're probably a bold spiritual warrior, right? Yep. But anyway, yeah, they're saying it travels in the breath now. Not the saliva that's propelled by the breath, but in the breath, the air. The air. So I thought about that. I'm like, really? But then, there's this new thing, because they were telling people to stay home as much as you can. And then now you see all these reports about people not staying home and people violating the social distancing thing. And so now they come up with this. It's in the breath of death. They didn't call it that on the report. That's just my little clever name. It's clever, right? But anyway, yeah, they're calling it the breath of death. And, well, no, I called it that. But that's literally what it is if it actually sits on the air. You know what I mean? It travels in the air. Not in the moisture, but in the air. So, since people are kind of not doing their thing and the thing, stay at home, social distancing, and they're saying they're recommending that you wear masks. I get it, they're trying to minimize the risk, stop the spread as much as possible so this thing can run its course in the collective body. But sometimes I wonder, because we know the media, the government, and whoever else, even religious regimes, they're not above lying because they know people are hard-headed. They know people will do the opposite, what they tell them to do, even if it's for their own good. And sometimes, well, probably more times than often, they make up a lie that sounds logical, a logical lie, to try to scare people in doing what they want them to do, because people are disobedient. They're hard-headed. So, whatever you do, just be careful. Be cautious. God breathed into you the breath of life. The last thing any of us would want is for another man or woman to come along and breathe upon you the breath of death. Some people have bad breath anyway, and it smells like death, but this thing is like, according to the media, it's now in the air. So you got to be careful. Be careful. Be mindful. Have that situational awareness. Respect other people's space. And, that's something we should do normally. Should have been doing. I was taught that as a little kid. Respect other people's space, boundaries, what have you. But be careful, because the last thing you would want, like somebody would fall out and then people who have the knowledge or skills to do CPR be like, nah, I'm staying away from that. I don't, nope, too risky. All kind of weird things can happen if that's true. If this thing actually rides on the air and not in the moisture or whatnot that's propelled by the air. If that's true, weirder things can happen. So, yeah, again, they're saying wear masks. What's interesting enough, and I kid you not, this is so ironic and coincidental. In the Bible, the book of Ephesians, Satan is referred to as the prince of the power of the air. Isn't that wild? And I say that's a coincidence also because I actually just finished a book that I'm about to release for publishing in a very, very near future. And part of the title you can't read, but because this band right here is over it that says not for resale. This is just a copy that I'm using to edit and proofread. But the title is How Satan Became the Prince of the Power of the Air. And it's based upon this verse right here. I'm going to read it real quick. And let me start over. And you he hath quickeneth, who were dead in trespasses and sins, where in time past ye walked according to to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. Yeah. They're telling all these people to take certain measures to be safe, but they're being disobedient. The spirit that worketh in the children of disobedience, that's that spirit that's making these people not want to comply if it's really for their own safety. But yeah, that's an interesting coincidence. I just finished this book and all this stuff's going down. But yeah, could it be the prince of the power of the air? They're saying this thing is in the air, the real air, not the moisture propelled by the air, but the air. That's what the media saying, the breath of death. Whatever the case may be, just understand as best as you can that you are well and you are protected. Yet and still, have that situational awareness. Be careful. No need to be paranoid. God's got your back if you allow for it and not worketh in the spirit of disobedience, because the prince of the power of the air, he's out there. Anyway, thank you for listening. This is Dario Thomas, Spiritology Television Network on YouTube. Subscribe. Share this link with anybody you think might be interested in these kind of talks and lessons. Hit me up. Some of you are on my Facebook page and whatnot. Hit me up. If you want a copy of the book, I can get you a complimentary copy. And again, subscribe to the Spiritology Network. Urge your friends and whoever to subscribe. Thank you for listening, and God bless.